Episode 34, I'll compete with you.
You're mistaken. I'm not Jeff's girlfriend.
Lelaine forced herself to say to Jonah with a smile. She grabbed Jeff's arm and walked towards the door without saying a word. One of Vincent's assistants had been watching the exchange.
Is this new boss cheating on his girlfriend? He must be very irresponsible. That little girl Lelaine is so kind. He must have tricked her into thinking he was single. He deserved to be caught today.
The assistant thought. Vincent, meanwhile, didn't know what to think.
Lelaine, listen to me.
Jeff looked at Lelaine. He wanted to tell her that Jonah had already broken up with him.
Don't say any more, Jeff. Thank you for taking care of me these past few days. I'm very sorry for causing such a misunderstanding. You should go back to your girlfriend.
Lelaine said with a trace of resentment.
Since you have a girlfriend, why are you being so nice to me? Could it be that you don't know the meaning behind why I kept coming to Ramsey Lake to find you every day?
She thought.
Ha! You little slut. Aren't you thinking too much? How could I possibly be this loser's girlfriend?
Jonah said as she walked over with a smile. She glanced at Jeff with disdain.
Look at him. What part of him is worthy enough for me? He is rather compatible with you.
She's not Jeff's girlfriend.
Lelaine suddenly realized. A wave of excitement rose in her heart, and she felt as if she had just recovered from a loss.
I knew Jeff wouldn't lie to me.
Lelaine thought as her eyes lit up again as she looked over at him. Vincent was also relieved.
Luckily, this new boss isn't playing to sides and cheating on his steady girlfriend, otherwise, I would have despised him.
He thought. At the same time, he was extremely dissatisfied with Jonah.
Is this crazy woman intentionally causing trouble for him? She's not his girlfriend. Jeff is a free man, so why is she pointing fingers at him?
Jonah, have you chosen your clothes?
At this time, a young man walked in with 2 bottles in his hands. He was tall and thin, and with his hair slicked back with gel. He looked very hard. If he wasn't Jake Adams, who else could he be? When Jake saw Jeff, his face showed anger.
You brat, you're asking for a beating, aren't you? Are you here to harass Jonah again?
He spoke with an overbearing attitude, as if Jeff was someone who could bully.
Dearest, I asked you to buy a bottle of water. You've been gone for so long.
Jonah ran over to Jake and wrapped her arms around his waist. She then looked at Lelaine and boasted.
This is my boyfriend. He's rich, tall, and handsome. He's not someone that loser can compare himself to. Jeff didn't come to harass me today.
She said to Jake.
He's here to buy clothes for his girlfriend.
Oh my, look at that girl's tattered clothes. She suits him.
Jake patted Jonah's butt and she smiled playfully.
Lelaine, quickly go in and see if this fits you or not.
Jeff said in a low voice. He didn't feel like arguing with the other two.
That dress is really beautiful. Let me try it on.
Jonah grabbed the dress from Lelaine's hands and looked at her.
For a woman like you has no money, it's better to find something more suitable for you to wear. There are dozens of dollar stores and secondhand shops in the city that more suitable for you.
After saying that, she took the dress into the changing room. A few minutes later, she walked out wearing it and proudly showed it off in front of Lelaine and Jeff.
This dress is not bad. It's perfect for me to wear. Some people would ruin this dress.
Jeff looked at Jonah as if she was crazy, unwilling to pay any attention to her.
Let's go over there and take a look.
He said to Lelaine as they went to the other side.
Jonah, since you've already chosen your clothes, let's go.
Jake said to Jonah. He had taken her there that day, so he could buy her a piece of clothing. The fashion beauty boutique was a high-end ladies' clothing store, so he didn't dare to spend freely there.
Go, what a joke. I haven't bought enough yet.
Jonah didn't want to leave, as Jeff had taken Lelaine there to buy clothes. She had to buy more than him. Jonah was really out of balance at the moment. When she abandoned Jeff, she thought he had no money. If she didn't buy more clothes in front of Jeff and prove that she was better off than when she was with him, you would underestimate her.
No, I must not let Jeff laugh at me. I must buy more clothes than him.
She thought. While Jonah was still thinking, Jeff had already chosen a dress with Lelaine. He was waiting for her at the door of the changing room. Jonah held Jake's arm and walked toward Jeff. When they were almost there, the door to the changing room opened. Lelaine gracefully walked out in a beige and white dress. Jonah stopped in her tracks with her eyes wide open as she looked at her.
Was this the ugly duckling girl from before?
How is it?
Lelaine asked nervously.
It's so beautiful.
Jeff's eyes lit up as he replied gleefully.
You're lying to me.
Lelaine whispered. She was a little embarrassed by Jeff's words, but she was secretly happy inside. At that moment, Jeff held Lelaine's shoulder firmly. He turned her slightly, and her beautiful figure appeared in the mirror. The dress covered her slender body, gracefully setting off her fair face and pink lips. She looked exceptionally beautiful. When Lelaine saw her reflection, she was stunned. The person in the mirror is like a fairy.
Is this me?
She thought.
All right, help us wrap this dress up.
Jeff was very satisfied with that piece of clothing. From Lelaine's expression, he knew that she also liked it. Vincent obediently packed up Lelaine's dress, then used Jeff's card to charge for it. Although Vincent didn't know why Jeff needed to spend money in his boutique, he could tell that it must be it to Lelaine, since he was willing to do so much for her. It seemed that he was a good man. Jeff wanted to pick out more clothes for Lelaine, but she refused to continue shopping. That dress already cost $250, and none of the items were cheap. She didn't want him to spend money carelessly.
Since you don't want to shop more, let's go. We'll come back here again.
Jeff said to her with a smile.
I can wear this for a long time.
Lelaine said softly, and the two of them started to move toward the exit.
Stop! You want to leave now?
Jonah angrily walked up to Jeff. Now that she and Lelaine had both bought a dress, it didn't look like Jonah was any better off than Jeff. And Lelaine, who was wearing the new dress, had shocked her. She didn't want to admit it, but she did think that Lelaine was even more beautiful than she was. This caused Jonah to be so furious that she almost went crazy. If she didn't try to get back at him, she would die of depression that day. Jeff ignored Jonah and tried to avoid her, but she was having none of it. When Jeff moved to the left, Jonah moved to the left to block his path. When Jeff moved to the right, Jonah moved to the right.
What do you want?
Jeff looked at Jonah speechlessly.
Didn't you bring this country bumpkin here to act cool? Now I want you to compete with me. Let's see if it's you who buys more clothes, or if it's my boyfriend who buys more.
Jonah had decided to humiliate. Lelaine pulled him by the hand and shook her head with a worried expression. The clothes here were too expensive, and it was a meaningless matter in itself.
All right, I'll compete with you.
Jeff said as he gave Lelaine a reassuring look, and then looked toward Jonah and agreed. From Jonah's attitude, it seemed that she wasn't going to let him leave if he didn't agree.
Haha, my dear, you think Jeff has a screw loop? He's going to compete with us. He doesn't know his place.
Jonah laughed arrogantly. Jake was not that happy.
A shopping contest and fashion beauty boutique. Is he crazy? The clothes here are several times more expensive than in other places.
He thought. However, since Jonah had already started this, Jake didn't want to cross her. He thought that he might still win if he competed with Jeff.
Jeff, I don't know if I should praise your intelligence or your balls. Later I'll let you know how big the gap is between you and me.
Jake sneered. Lelaine was extremely scared. Jeff and Vincent, on the other hand, were laughing themselves to death.
Are these two nuts? This shop is all mine. Who are you going to buy more clothes from? Me? Interesting.
Thought Jeff. Of course, Jeff wouldn't reveal his identity. He didn't want anyone to know who he was, especially Lelaine. Jonah looked at him with disdain.
I know you only have a bit of money left from what you won in the lottery after you stupidly made that huge donation to the Mountain Village children. I can't wait to see what money you're going to use to compete with me today.
After she finished speaking, she casually pointed at a pleated skirt and said,
Help me wrap that up.
Is that all right, sir?
Vincent questioned Jake intentionally. He could tell that Jonah had no money of her own, so the decision was entirely in Jake's hands. Jake also felt pained by the price of the $200 pleated skirt. But he had to buy it since he had already said so earlier. He pretended not to carry as he said,
It's only $200. It's only my meal money. Jeff, do you have something to say?